Welcome to Pigskin Passion TV. And it's your boy, the Black Mamba. And today is November 14th, episode number 35. And guys, we back for another week of fantasy football. And man, we are rolling into the last weeks of fantasy. Can you believe this? And again, guys, I'm in the winner circle, man. My boys are out there cooking. Dak, Keenan Allen, whoever want that smoke, they getting it. And I came up with another victory this week. This week, this was the perfect lineup for me. I didn't have anybody on my bench who I should have played. Everybody I started, they were the player that needed to be in the lineup. And man, it's been a crazy fantasy season for me to start out 0-3 and now be in the playoff hunt. It feels good, guys. I ain't gonna even lie. But enough of that said. Let's get into this week's waiver wire picks. And I don't really have a whole lot going on waiver wire wise, but I do have some picks that I feel like would be good pickups if you guys have any players out there that you need. Due to your player being on bye this week, I do have some players that you may be able to go out there and pick up. And with that said, let's jump right into this thing. So, even though he's not playing this week, if you in need of a quarterback, Jameis Winston may be somebody you want to keep an eye out on. He came in for Derek Carr on Sunday, and honestly, the offense seemed to move the ball a lot better with him in there. I don't know if he'll actually play after their bye week. Derek Carr had a shoulder injury plus concussion, so he could be back. He may not. But if you need somebody, I would go out there and pick Jameis up. They have some upside matchups in the upcoming weeks against Atlanta and Detroit. Atlanta, because the defense is actually they're not playing up to the standards they were in the beginning of the season. In Detroit, it could be one of them games where they're going to be playing uphill and playing from behind, and he just has to throw the ball. And if you guys know Jameis, he ain't never scared to throw that ball. He's aggressive. So you have to take the good with the bad. May get some interceptions in there, but more than likely he's going to throw some scores for you. And if you're in need of running backs, one running back that I would take a look at would be Ty Chandler with the Minnesota Vikings. Last week, he led the Vikings in rushing with 15 carries and 45 yards. He should at least be the lead back this week if Alexander Madison doesn't play. He went out last week with a concussion, so I don't know if he would be able to suit up this week. So it would at least give you one good week to have Ty Chandler if that is the case. And this week they have the Broncos, who have the friendliest running back defense in the league. They did allow 177 yards to Cook and Murray on Monday. So I think Ty Chandler would be a good plug-in for this week if you guys are in need for a running back. Another running back that I will probably stash away would be, I don't know if he would get how much playing time he would get, just based on how he played last week. It was basically garbage time, but Rico Dowdle with the Dallas Cowboys. Last week he had season highs. He had 12 carries for 79 rushing yards. And Tony Pollard, he's kind of been disappointing this year versus his draft position. He's only had like 2 TDs this year, and that was at the very first game. So Rico could get more carries as the season winds down. At the very least, if you have room and you're kind of on the borderline of needing a running back, he would definitely be a good stash that I would kind of just do a wait and see if you have room for that. And moving to wide receivers, guys, I think I may have mentioned this guy last week, and that's Noah Brown with the Texans. Man, he's been putting on the show. Since he showed up on the scene, he's delivered 2 straight monster games. He's averaging a league best 20.9 yards per catch. And if Nico Collins is out for an extended period of time, he has a pretty high ceiling, especially this week. They're playing the Cardinals. I will keep an eye out on when Collins comes back, because that could take away a proportionate amount of his targets. But in the meantime, Noah Brown has been out there balling, guys. So definitely, if you're in need for a wide receiver, I would go out there and scoop him. He may not be available in most leagues right now. Another wide receiver that I would go out and pick up if you're in need of a receiver is Jaden Reed with the Green Bay Packers. Last week he had 5 catches for 84 yards, and he's surpassed 80 yards in 2 of his last 3 games. So, and he has a positive matchup coming for the next 2 weeks with the Chargers and the Lions. So he may give your wide receiving core a little boost if that's what you're in need of, or be a 1-week plug-in if you have a player on bye. And at the tight end position, another Green Bay Packer, Luke Musgrave. He, over the last 2 games, he's had 115 yards on 5 receptions. So he may be worth taking a flyer on this week. And they played the Los Angeles Chargers, who has the 3rd easiest for teams with tight ends, and they're the worst in total passing yards. So Luke Musgrave will be a good pickup for this week if you're in a pinch for needing a tight end. And like always, guys, as I've been doing this whole season, I've been streaming my defenses. I think that may have come to an end last week. I think I may be down to my last 2 defenses that I'll just kind of go back and forth with as the rest of the year winds down. But again, if you listened to me last week, a defense that may or may not be out there on the waiver wire now, the Detroit Lions, they have a very favorable schedule the rest of the year from week 11 to week 16. So just to give you a rundown of who they play for the next 5 weeks, they got Chicago, they got Green Bay, New Orleans Saints, they got Chicago Bears again, and then Denver and Minnesota Vikings, which makes this the 3rd most favorable schedule over that span. So if you can go out there and scoop up the Detroit Lions this week, again, I would go out there and do it, because they may be your defense for the rest of the season. Another defense that will be available, that if they're available, I would go out and pick up this week if Detroit's not available would be the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're playing the Tennessee Titans this week. And I know, guys, Jacksonville just took a thrashing from San Francisco 49ers, but I think this may be the get back right week playing Tennessee, because Tennessee just supplied the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with 4 sacks and an interception, and then they only scored 6 points. So Jacksonville's defense will be another defense that I would go out and pick up. If for some reason those 2 defenses aren't available, then the Washington defense is another defense that I would take a look at this week. And guys, I know Washington's defense, they're not good. And they recently traded away 2 of the 2 maybe best defensive line edge rushers in Chase Young and Montez Sweat. But fortunately for them, they get a Giants offense that is even more not good. So I think this could be a get right week for them playing the New York Giants offense. The Giants, they've allowed the most sacks for a team this season, including they've allowed 4+ sacks in the past 4 games. In addition to that, the offense has just been putrid. They've only scored more than 17 points one time this year. Let that sink in. This is a professional team, and they've only put up more than 17 points one time this year. So I think the Washington defense, even though they're not good, they should be able to put pressure, get sacks, and get some turnovers and put some points on the board as a defensive unit. So guys, there you have it. This week's fantasy football picks off the waiver wire. And I hope some of these pickups will add value to your teams. And I have a public service announcement. Spike that like, comment, and subscribe. And it's your boy, the Black Mamba, out.